Hey guys, this is Comic Uno, and today I'm doing a review for The Legends of Tomorrow, Episode 6, Star City 2046. So let's start talking about this episode. Here we go towards the future. Finally, we've been in the past with Legends of Tomorrow, with the 70s and 80s, but now we're seeing the future. And this is very much, I guess, a Sarah-centric episode, and a little bit of a Ray-centric episode, because it's going to Star City, finding out what Star City looks like. And this is not a Vandal Savage episode. It is actually kind of a Deathstroke episode. We learn that Deathstroke has destroyed Star City, and it's actually Grant Wilson, who is Deathstroke's son, who's destroyed the city. And we see that Team Arrow really doesn't exist anymore. Green Arrow is dead, supposedly, and there's a new Green Arrow, as we see is actually Connor Hawke. And we'll get into what his character is, but we actually find out throughout the episode that Oliver was actually just hiding, and we also learn that Connor Hawke is not really like his comic book counterpart, but instead John Diggle's son. But because of John's death, he doesn't want to use that name, so he uses Connor Hawke. We don't really know where he gets the name from, but he does use that name. And then Sarah's able to convince Oliver, saying, hey, you're really the only one that can save the city. So they end up saving the city. Other things happening here, we see Captain Cold and Heatwave kind of enjoy this life of, villains taking over, or at least half of them enjoying it. Captain Cold, for some reason, doesn't. And he's trying to convince Heatwave's like, our friends are in danger. What are you doing? So you're definitely seeing a nicer side of Captain Cold, and you're really seeing a rift between Heatwave and Captain Cold, which it looks like next episode we're going to deal with a little bit more. Also, Rip Hunter kind of doing the same thing and not wanting to listen to his team, and says, hey, we can't destroy this, timeline, and we gotta destroy, we have to defeat Vandal Savage, like, we can't worry about this right now. And Sarah's like, well, you're taking your family situation personally, and that's, what this whole mission's about, but you're not caring about my city. So it's, of course, the butting heads against Vandal and Sarah. And Vandal, again, still learning how to be a leader and how to listen to his team. Because obviously, that is part of this this experience, is to work as a team. And we're seeing how our characters do that. And then lastly is this kind of weird B story with Jax liking Kendra, Ray liking Kendra, and them like saying, hey, let's see who she likes, and finds out that Kendra's not really wanting to date anybody right now because of her, past with Carter, and just not wanting to be in a romantic relationship. And that's pretty much the whole episode, and then in the end, they kind of save Star City for the time being, and they are going to either the future or the past. We really don't know what time period yet until, I guess, the next episode. But what did I think of the episode overall? I definitely had fun with the episode. As an Arrow fan, I had a lot of fun. It was cool seeing Oliver Queen with the goatee, kind of. It wasn't so much goatee. I feel like it was more, kind of a full beard, but I still could live with that. It was cool to see Old Man Ali. That's what I'm going to be calling him. Yeah, I think the makeup could have been a little bit better. You could still, see how young Stephen Amell kind of is. But overall, again, it's kind of cool to see a different version of Oliver Queen, and definitely even colder version of Oliver Queen. So, that was interesting. Now, going into Connor Hawke, because that was definitely the character I was most excited for. I don't know if I'll say I was unhappy with what they did with the character, but I guess it made sense for the Arrow universe to make him John Diggle's son. But at the same time, I do really enjoy Connor's character in the comics, and I love his origins of his ethnicity and being Oliver's son. Even though you definitely see this kind of not biological father-son relationship growing, but you see kind of a father-son relationship going towards the end of the episode with Oliver and Connor. But yeah, I just like that origin story in the comic, and I was surprised that they changed it for the show, but they definitely made sense in the episode of his origin story. So that was definitely one of the biggest parts. A disappointment in this episode was honestly how they utilized Grant Wilson. He was just kind of there as the villain of the week, which is understandable, but I kind of wish they dug into him a little bit more. Now, of course, this is Legends of Tomorrow, so you can't dig too much into the Arrow mythology, but maybe instead of having having the love interest storyline, focus on Grant, focus on Connor Hawke, focus on those characters to build them up more. Now, Connor, I think you actually did get enough of his character to care for him in this episode. But again, Grant Wilson, he was just kind of there. He was just like, oh, I'm this generic villain, and I used my father's name because he was kind of a cool villain. And it kind of would have been cool to maybe see more of the Wilsons. I'm hoping in the future, maybe we'll see Rose, maybe we'll see Jericho. That's something I've been waiting for with Arrow. Maybe in a future season of Arrow, we'll see that. I don't know. We'll find out with that. Maybe some version of Ravager, which we kind of saw in season 2, but I don't really count that as Ravager. So I was a little disappointed with Grant Wilson in this episode. And then, as I was saying, the love interest story was so out there. It just felt like they kind of ran out of ideas for like a C story, and they were like, what do? We haven't really had a love interest in this show. Let's kind of like play with that. But it didn't organically feel like that was necessary. I never saw a build-up between Jax and Kendra's romance. I never saw it between Ray and Kendra. So it felt weird because there wasn't any build-up from the past 5 episodes. This story and this C story would have made more sense if there's just a little bit more build-up to it. So I was really disappointed and not weirded out, but just like I guess uninterested in that plot because it was weird that it was there. So that was disappointing. But a story I really enjoyed that I'm excited for the writers to really encounter, I guess, in next episode is the polarizing ideas between Heatwave and Captain Cold. Heatwave is kind of still stuck in what he used to be. Like, he was a rogue and he's still kind of a villain, I guess. But Captain Cold you're seeing grow as a character and care about his friends and care about his team. So I like kind of the differences of opinion, and I'm excited to see where they take Heatwave because of that. Because I think Heatwave is a really interesting character that just hasn't had enough screen time. And I think next episode is going to be a big Heatwave episode, which I'm really excited about. And we'll see why he wants to kind of stay a villain and not really trust his teammates and call them friends just yet. We've definitely seen a buildup of that even from last episode. So that story arc, even though it didn't have a lot of screen time in this episode, was really well done. So overall, there were some faults in this episode, but I had fun with it. It was cool to see a different version of Star City, and again, excited to see what time period they go in and see what they do with the Captain Cold and Heatwave storyline it looks like in the next episode. So those are my thoughts. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. This is Comic Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Don't forget to like my Facebook page. Also, description below, there's links from my comic book, Like Father, Like Daughter. And don't forget to like the Facebook page of Like Father, Like Daughter. I'll see you guys later. Bye.